Hello, hello, and happy day. Today, I want to talk about a thing called perception. So, we all know that we have perception. It is a conscious ability of which we have. And so, what I want to talk about, kind of two fronts in regards to perception, is one, that perception literally changes how we see the world. So, this is going to be us, and this is the world. Let's just call this the world. So, our perceptions, which is our beliefs, our thought patterns, which are in our subconscious mind. So let's just have a little cloud. And the subconscious mind is going to be the lens through which we see the world. So we have beliefs about how things should be. We have beliefs about how we are and how we interact with the world. So based on that, we have a sort of, let's make glasses here. We have a sort of lens through which we see the world. So ultimately, if we can change this lens, if we can use our conscious mind to change the lens, we can change how we see the world. We can change how we interact with the world, because we can recognize that even based on our current mood, it alters how we see the world, how we see other people. So this is based on our mind. But what I want to talk about, dive into a little bit further and deeper with this, is beyond just that. So we do have this ability to perceive the world and how we even perceive the world when we consciously think about it. But even beyond that is our interaction with perception towards other, in regards to other people, is vastly different than that in regards to our own self. For example, that if we see our neighbor's trouble, then we're going to see that completely differently than if it's our trouble. We may be able to empathize with them and kind of feel their pain and their struggle that they're going through, but naturally we see that still from a third-party perspective. Whereas if we see our troubles, it is first person. It is through our own lens. So we have our lens through our own interaction with the world versus the third-party lens. So what we want to talk on here is that when that happens, we get so intertwined with our troubles, with our problems, that we feel that they are us, and we forget that we have a body, we have a mind, but above and beyond, we are consciousness. We are a non-physical being. We'll call it spirit, a non-physical being with the mind, with a body, with experiences. We have these things. Yet when we have our troubles and we have these challenges that we're going through, we get so caught up in them that we forget that we are not them. So what I want to bring up, and you may be able to see where this is going, that if we can view other people from a third-party perspective, and we have the ability to change our perception, then we have the ability to view ourselves from this aspect of us, third party as well. When we can learn to withdraw ourselves from our day-to-day interactions, when we can withdraw ourselves from our problems, our emotional roller coasters, they no longer have as much of a stronghold on us, because we recognize that I am, the I am, is beyond all of this. So when we practice seeing ourselves above, we are practicing aligning ourselves with our higher self, with our truer self, with that divine consciousness that we are. And we are no longer getting caught in the slug drudgery of the day-to-day life. So we want to practice being up here, because we have plenty of practice being the person. We've done this all of our lives, right? So what we want to practice is being up here and using our perception not only to change how we see the outside world, but to change how we see ourselves. And it's not even just a matter of changing the self-image, which allows us to do. The more we practice this, the easier it is to change this self-image. But ultimately, because again, so we have this lens and we see the outside world, but this lens also goes through and right back at us. So the very lens through which we see the world, we have a lens for ourselves, that self-image that we have. We believe we are a certain way. We believe we should have certain things. We believe that some things are for us and some things aren't for us. So the more we practice living here and being this, the true essence that we really are, we allow ourselves, one, to see it objectively, to be like, why am I behaving this way? Why do I do these things? Why? And we can just view it objectively. That allows us to see if this image of ourselves is worthwhile. It allows us to see if this image of others is worthwhile. But most importantly, it allows us to not get so caught up in this that we forget this, because we are not solely this. We live here, we have this, yes, but we cannot forget this. We need to continue to practice the true essence of who we are, living that, reminding ourselves of that, connecting with that. And the more we can practice that higher observation, the more we become the masters of our own life, the more we become able to dictate and to just see objectively, because that's what this life is. We are experiencing this life through the body. So we should not get so caught up as the actor in the movie playing Spider-Man that forgets he's a person and thinks he's Spider-Man. He's not going to go out into the world really trying to shoot things. If he's doing that, they lock him up. We're pretty much locked up. That's what we're doing. We're locked up in our own body forgetting this. So we just need to, that's what this practice of changing the perception and practice this use of our consciousness in a way that allows us to remember, to recognize that we are not like really floating in a cloud above, but that we are beyond this though. We are so much more subtle in density than this physical body. And we will just call it the spiritual realm, because that's essentially what it is. So we want to practice this perception, and we can do that throughout the day, and just kind of looking at attempting, because it may be challenging to do it throughout the day, interacting with the day, but the more we can sit down in silence and practice just observing and review the day, like, how did I handle that situation? How did that affect me? And not replaying it as if it is happening then in the first person, but replaying it as the third person, as if we are this looking out into ourselves. So we can see it and practice it just in review. And the more we practice it in review, the easier it gets to do it in the day-to-day, in the live stream, rather than in the replay. So I hope that's making sense, because the more we are practicing that, we are changing our perspective on how we see life. We are changing our perspective on how we see ourselves. We are changing our perspective on who we truly are. This is a muscle worth strengthening, worth getting the practice and the reps in, because when we can remember this, it frees us from this. It frees us from our own mental and physical slavery that we've created with our own mind unknowingly most of the time. So we want to, this is the key to liberation, right? This is the key to freedom, to remember that we're not caught up in all this, but to remember that we have the invincibility, the infinite possibilities that we seek. We just have to remember how to tap into that. And a little bit of changed perception can help get us there, one day at a time, a little bit closer every day. All we want to do is continually to expand, to grow, to be more, to allow more of ourselves to express ourselves. So let's practice that with a little bit of a change in perception. Talk to you soon.